Hi, hi, hi. Sorry about that. I forgot, like, I muted it because I was worried that I would be like murmuring in the background and y'all would just hear me murmuring in the background like a little weirdo, being like, all right, I can do this. And what I said was, I'm either early or I'm late, but I'm never on time. All right. So I am having so much more fun with makeup since I don't do makeup content, which sounds, no, that's not for you. Throughout this, we're going to be fussing with this dang Ipsy that I got because I do receive it in PR. So whenever we take little breaks, I think it's like Ipsy, the Ipsy regular bag and the Ipsy boxy box, the Ipsy charm. We're calling it the boxy Ips or the Ipsy charm. So, hi everyone, how are you? Thank you for letting me know that you couldn't hear me. Hi, Maggie. Welcome in. Hi, cute kitten. Hi, this is Cameron. Hi, Janet, Miranda, Felisa. Listen, I did a thing today, Felisa. I'm proud of it. Like I need little. Listen, there's something magical about doing the hair that grows out of your head and like not feeling frustrated anymore. Anyway, hi, Lauren. Hi, girly girl. Hi, Amethyst. Thank you. Caroline, I got it. I got myself together. Hi, Allie. Hi to all my channel members and patrons. Speaking of which, before I even get started, y'all know what's up. I always have to go in and I have to pay my bills. So big ups to the channel members and the patrons without whom I would not be able to continue creating content. I appreciate y'all so much because honestly, this has been a wild run. This has been a wild time. And if y'all hear a lot of like lumping in the background, it is Bo. He has gotten the zoomies because he hears me doing something that isn't paying attention to him. So thank you all so much. I'm thinking we're going to do like a makeup playtime because I feel like I really want to talk about palettes that like you have that just infuriate you, like one that makes you angry and one that you love. And we'll just like get together and just have a chat. You don't even have to put the makeup on if you don't want to. I just thought that would be fun. Excuse me. I don't know when that'll be. With all the packing and the moving, the closing date has been moved up. The move date is still the same, but the closing date has come up. So that's made things a little linderburger. Um, thank you. Hey, Yadi, what's up? Thank you. Thank you, Peppy. Whitney, what's up? Brandy, hi. Hi, Janelle. So listen, this is I'm still using the Sumerian Sunset for the shimmers, but I am using other palettes for the mattes. Like the mattes for this one came from the Unearthly Cosmetics Sleepover palette, which I don't think they make anymore. Oh, sorry. I have to like have a lot to drink. I'm still recovering from all the heat. So, oh, okay. Yeah, I that's the thing is like I haven't bought makeup in a really long time. So it was really exciting to get this palette and I think it's just really, really pretty. I like playing with it. I just love the shimmers, but he really did, and I wasn't expecting that. I actually was the whole interaction just happened because if I live react, I actually ask the creator because I don't like the feeling that one, I don't want to get a copyright strike because like I don't need anybody coming after the 27 cents that I have in my bank account. Thank you. Um I'm like it's not, I'm going to be really upset. But the other is that I really just feel like just generally, I feel like if I'm gonna do that, especially on a live stream and it stays up, that the creator should know and be okay with it. And especially if it's a newer video. If it's like something super old, then I don't really worry about it as much. But if it's something that you just came out with like in the past week or so, I just don't want to be like that kind of nastiest person where it feels like I'm taking your content, not like I can. I'm so small in comparison to the creators that I react to. So it's not really a big deal, but I still just wanted to have good habits from jump. So before I get into this, okay, here's the thing. everything I'm about to say is conspiracy on my part, and alleged, okay? Because again, I don't need James Charles and his legal team coming after me and my 27 cents because like that'll be my 13th reason. That'll be it. Like that'll be the end. Kara, I saw your pics on Instagram. You were killing it, girl. Ooh, Connecticut. I have never been. Have I? No, I haven't. I always think that I've been to Connecticut for reasons. I think it's because I worked for a company before and their headquarters was in Connecticut. So it makes me like, ugh. Yeah, I thank you, Laura. Lauren, I'm sorry. Thank you, Lauren. I just really try to make sure that it's okay because if somebody really doesn't like you to use their content or they really don't want you to use newer stuff, then I just want to make sure that I, don't do that. So, listen, I want to go to Australia, but also I feel like if there are aliens on Earth, they are in Australia. And I will, because all the most dangerous, like wild animals to this day, I literally cannot handle like I'm surprised that people are just now getting back into or they're just recycling the buff kangaroo thing. But I remember like I was still married the first time I saw buff kangaroos, lost my mind. And I was just like, I don't really understand how y'all just have they were flexing on people, like flexing on them, like walking around with their like buff kangaroo arms. They were just and I just don't understand how y'all live there like that. Wild, wild. Yay! Good morning. All right, we can start, everybody. Steven's here. But listen, it really would be. I'd be like, I don't have any money. I don't know what you're going to sue me for. Like, I don't have things. So, because that is actually true, I do feel like from the plants to like the bugs, they're all just trying to like this whole kangaroo. Thank you. It's good to see the amount of people who like understand these buff kangaroos. And like anybody who says like, oh, I'd take on a kangaroo, I wouldn't. No. Because if they don't get you here, like just knocking you out, like their kick, you're done. Like they're gonna kick you in the chest, it's over. So I wanted to kind of get started and start talking about, I said start too many times, but I wanted to talk about this because here's the thing. With everything going on with Lipstick Nick, RBK, all of these things, Manny, people finding out that all of these various creators are following James. I put on my little conspiracy theory hat. And here's the thing. Before I get into it, Pinely, who this is also to bolster a point that both Peter and myself have with the RBK situation, is I'm going to share a little bit of a video that Pinely just recently put out. I feel like it was last week. Pinely, who is beautiful, but not in the beauty community, has some of this to say. And they did a video on James Charles. And I just want to say, again, beautiful, not in the beauty community. So here we go. It's going to take
watching a Brent Rivera kissing tutorial. Not for any personal reason. I'm very good at kissing. It was for a second channel video. As Brent diverted from the topic of his own video in a variety of different wonderful ways, including renting a giraffe, I suddenly saw him on a very familiar set.
James Charles here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel.
Also, pause. Did y'all see what is Pinely? You see? See? Beautiful, not in the beauty community. Promise it's going somewhere. It's not, this isn't like a really long clip. I think it's like 8 or so minutes. So just be patient because we're going to get there.
Yeah! Is he in James Charles's house? How did he end up in James Charles's house instead of doing a kissing tutorial for me to watch? I was clearly mortified by this situation. I was not happy at all. Why is he there? Why would he do that? Just a refresher, I guess. James Charles was accused 2 years ago of messaging inappropriately a variety of teenage boys. So how'd you find...
So once again, beautiful, not in the beauty community. Just wanna, I just really want to throw that out there like multiple times that beautiful, not in the beauty community, also knows about it. Hi, boo. It's been a minute. I will have the video linked if I don't already. It might be in the description box because sometimes I'm prepared and other times I'm not. And sometimes it's somewhere in between. Burp, burp. All right.
Find yourself in his studio, Brent. So then, I started connecting the dots. As some of you may have seen this article, James Charles would like to be uncancelled, please. This is a puff piece on how he had messed up and he's trying to move on from, trying to hook up with 16-year-olds. The same article also states that because of this want of his to be uncancelled, James Charles has hired a PR firm to help him out with that project. And the timeline of this also perfectly aligns with this Brent video and with him recording a lot of collabs with a different influencer for kids. Look, this is one of the first things that you see when you look up Jojo Siwa. James Charles, James Charles, James Charles, James Charles. He's like, is he paying all of these people? I'm assuming that he is. I think that he's paying all of these people.
And that, because he started on the realm of talking about the PR firm, James Charles, all of that stuff. And so this is where my little conspiracy hat started. Okay, that got weird. But one thing I will say, and this is going to be like a weird, listen, just be here for the neurodivergent circle. It's going to come around. There are people who get very upset about the guilty by association rule. And I understand that because it's actually kind of a gray rule, right? Because if you're hanging out with people who shoplift from a store, there's two options here, right? One, you know that these people are shoplifting, but you don't plan to shoplift with them. Two, well, really, there's three. The second one is that you don't know that they're planning to shoplift and you are innocent of the situation. And the third is that you know that they're going to, shoplift and you're going to help them out, right? So those are the three options. And it becomes gray because we never know about the other ones, right? Just knowing that doesn't mean you're stealing. And the not knowing means you didn't know, but they always just lump you in regardless and say, like, those people stole, you're a part of it, the end. And so by that logic, everybody just assumes police-wise, fuck the police, but police-wise, they assume that because you were hanging out with those people, regardless of if you took anything or not, they don't have any way of knowing whether or not you stole. And really, the only way that they would know that is to be able to do a deep history into who you've hung out with before in your past to really come around to decide whether or not you are a thief, right? And so it's a whole situation to get all the way here. I say this because I think a lot of times we forget where James Charles started and who he was hanging out with. And if you look at it, James Charles is quite literally utilizing the Jeffree Star playbook on staying relevant, being able to continue his career and having people still follow him. Ta-da! So I'm like, this is where we go. So the whole point is that, yeah, exactly. Because people like that is even worse. Because, like, y'all know. So I think as a viewer, we consistently forget that the way, like, James Charles was relatively young when he starts hanging out with the likes of Jeffree Star and Tati, like 18, 19 years old. Like, this is still a very impressionable age, right? Like, now at my age, my big age of 43, if I was like, ooh, you'd be looking at me kind of sideways, being like, you're a whole adult, right? But your brain isn't even fully formed and able to fully process all the things it needs to, I think, until you hit like the age of 23. So this is just recently, because James is 24 now. This is just recently happened for him. So this hasn't always been there. So some of the most impressionable times of his life, and please, I said life, And please don't think that I'm excusing him. That's not what we're doing here today. We're going down a little rabbit hole. So if you remember way back in the olden days of Jeffree Star hurling racial slurs and being just generally awful Jeffree Star, he was doing that on MySpace and he'd had like a pretty big audience. He was hanging out with some questionable people. And just as things were starting to get hot for him on MySpace, he moves over to YouTube, right? And when he gets to YouTube, starts hanging out with a whole new set of people. And hi, Blue. He begins hanging out with a whole new set of people, has a whole new beauty community. He's doing all this stuff, hanging out with like Manny and Laura, and has this crew. And eventually they get tired of his BS with the infamous, we're better off without him kind of flipping off the bird to the camera that just it blew everything up. We all remember, I think those of us who were there remember it, but it was the rough go because the very moment that photo like hit the web, it got ugly. Okay. Suddenly, allegedly, Jeffree was making sure that their ish was combed. Their sins were brought to the light. Laura Lee, who once famously had the most noticeable and notable apology that's now been taken over by Colleen Ballinger, but the gray hoodie, the snot, the tears, it was a masterpiece. It was a thing, right? They're all upset. They're all crying. Meanwhile, Jeffree then just slithers on. That's when he slithered over to James Charles and Tati, reinventing himself once again, also with the likes of Shane Dawson having documentaries made. Well, they're not documentaries because Shane Dawson cannot make a documentary to save his life, and I will die on that hill. Whatever it's just a very extended vlog. Suck it. So See, you knew him back in the MySpace days and was so shocked when you saw him rebrand as a makeup influencer. Exactly. The Tati friendship was weird. What are a married couple doing befriending a teenager? I never got that either. Like, so strange. I thought it was always weird because listen, I might talk to you in a random space, like you're whatever age, like, but I'm not hanging out with you. Like, we're not going places together. We're not gonna do stuff, we're not gonna like chill. Hey, we're not gonna go like just relax because what do I have in common with you? You know what I mean? Like as soon as a 19-year-old starts talking, I'm like, okay, that's good. I don't want. Am I being ageist? Yes. Do I care? Absolutely not. We have nothing in common. It's the same reason why, like, if a 19-year-old is doing a beauty tutorial about skincare and how to make wrinkles go away, child, please. Unless you have some kind of like issue in which you have premature wrinkles and you're gonna Benjamin Button, I don't know what to say. Like reverse Benjamin Button, I can't watch it. Like get rid of it. See, this is here. So Jeffree does his whole rebrand, and here's the thing: the reason I'm bringing this up is because I came in the midst of him rebranding from Manny and all of them. And so I was one of the people who was easily swayed and didn't realize all this other stuff had happened because the rebrands were so successful. Essentially, there were a few people who knew what had happened and kept screaming it from the rooftops. In fact, Beauty with Ashley, Beauty, like TEA with Ashley, was one of the first creators I saw that really made me start to question why I even liked Jeffree Star in the first place. Yes, it was me. I was one of the people who was there, like I was one of the people who got sucked in because these rebrands were very successful, moving one to a completely different platform, completely different medium because he was like making shitty music, and doing all of that really started to put him in this perspective where people didn't know who he was from MySpace. And then he moves over here, he breaks off with those friends, and when you're watching this rebrand, you think all of these people are jealous, right? Because they don't have brands, they don't really have anything going for them that's like going well. They're just regular degular, and they mad that Jeffree won't give them any money. Because if you recall, one of the things that was going on allegedly was that people really thought that Manny had asked Jeffree for a business loan and Jeffree wouldn't give it. Now, me being a business person in the mind, not realistically, like I read and I understand things, and I'm like, yeah, you probably don't loan large amounts of money to your friends because that's dumb. Now, that's off the top of my dome. So it's not too long after that that they have the like, F you Jeffree picture, right? It's not really long after that. They have that photo and then everything blows up. Now Jeffree has slithered on over to Tati. He's hanging out with, Shane, and Shane's doing those super vlogs being like, showing the come see the softer side of Jeff. And so he's doing that. And I'm so sorry. Like I did that and I was like, that was weird. But after all of that transpires, you now see that James Charles is just rocketing past all of them. He's rocketing past Tati, he's rocketing past Jeffree. And now it seems to look like this isn't working out the way that Jeffree thought it was supposed to work out. Like how it was supposed to work out is, this was going to be like my kid brother. But also remember that the entirety of this time that James is hanging out with Jeffree Star, he's also been able to watch this happen. So there is a whole other like deal with regards to MUA, because there was this era, and I've talked about this before, but when beauty YouTube, beauty Instagram, when all this stuff, when just beauty content in general started to pop off, literally everyone, including yours truly, because I didn't listen, had an MUA at the end of their username. It would be like Sally MUA, Jennifer MUA, MUA Sarah. Like it was, regardless of whether or not you were actually a makeup artist, you just had it in your name. And it didn't matter. I'm so sad. I'm like so embarrassed remembering that stage of my IG era where I was just like, and everybody's like videos where of them going like this. It was so messy. It was a messy time. Everybody was yeah, like it was just this thing. It was such it was a whole deal. And yeah, you just thought he was normal. Now when I found him on YouTube, I had no idea he was still being horrible. And I think that's the thing. MySpace was just like this weird, it was like if you didn't know how to do computer code, which I did not. I'm sorry, I didn't know how to code. I could not get into MySpace. I wish I could, but I just at the time I didn't have the patience for all of that. So what started happening, if you look at all of that, and then the eventual end of Jeffree Star, which is the reason that this really has happened. There we go. Sorry about that, y'all. I'm hoping that like when the heat finally dies down, like it's dying down now, so it'll stop making the internet be like wiggy. Let me close that as well. Okay. And that. Okay, there we go. So Jeffree had no other place to go. Like he went to TikTok, and I was talking to my friend M about this of Imperfectly M, and I feel like one, he's just a bit too old for TikTok. Not like old as in can't do it, but old as in doesn't want to, wasn't interested in really following all the trends. And people just kind of weren't like, when he first got there, it to me looked like he very much was like, I do not want to be here. Like, I don't want to be here. Exactly. Like, there's so much stuff that people just really didn't know Betty Sue MUA, a 57-year-old woman from Arkansas who sells Cutco knives and dollar store jewelry on Facebook Live. Hell yeah. And so like now Jeffree is at this place where we don't really know, like nobody really cares on YouTube for the most part. He's got his diehard fans, his diehard base, but the reality is there's not any place else for him to slither to. So he's just kind of doing the Wyoming yak farm, moved his money. I don't know anybody who's still buying his products. Like around me, if you are, it's not a big deal. Like live your life, babe. I'm not the boss of you. No one is. Do you? But if you look at this timeline, I'm over here with my notes, y'all. I'm so proud of myself. I have notes. So when you look at it, like James Charles following that Jeffree Star playbook, you look at Jeffree Star starts on MySpace, the accusations of racism, the people that he was hanging out with, he moves to YouTube. If you look at James Charles, he starts on YouTube, the predator accusations and admissions begin with Tati and move from there. And so then he goes over to TikTok where he gains a whole new audience who a lot of Gen Z doesn't even watch YouTube. And that's fine. Not like all of them, but a lot of them don't really watch YouTube. So they're not caught up on the drama. They don't watch a lot of drama channels over here. Like everything they're getting is from TikTok. So a lot of folks just really didn't know all the stuff that had taken place. And they're like, okay. If you look at Jeffree Star, he had a whole cadre of friends. They get tired of his BS and his, I'm going to call it blackmail. And I don't think that it was ever real because we never saw receipts. That's all I'm going to say. Just digging up old tweets and having people show those is not the same as the receipts that you had for the things that I know about people, girl. Remember he would come up all evil with his like long fingers. Anyways, but they all cut ties with Jeffree Star. And then Jeffree Star moves on to Tati and James. So then James Charles is friends with Tati and Jeffree Star, excuse me. They get jealous of his success, cut him out, and then he's on TikTok doing his thing with his TikTok friends. Because now he's over there. And that was the first time that I saw James Charles bottom half, and I was flabbergasted. Again, I'm not making fun of him. What I am saying is I just wasn't expecting that to be how it looked. That's all. I feel like that about most people. It's like when you see us sitting here and you don't realize someone is tall. That's all. So it was weird. It was just a weird situation where it was like, I didn't even know you had a bottom half of your body. Do you know what I mean? Like it was just like something I don't think about with most most of these folks. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? I don't like it. Just show me this half of your body again. It's freaking me out. Like, I don't like this. And it's not just him, it's like everybody, like every creator. If you don't show me that you have a whole body, I'm freaked out the second that you're like, and I'm like, ah! Like it's a shock to my system. I'm like, who told you that you have another part of you? It's very upsetting. So then, and this is a big part to keep in mind because we're talking about the things that you learn when you're impressionable. Jeffree Star repeatedly admitted that he liked to hit on straight guys and, that his boyfriend at the time, which I'm not going to bring his name into it because, like, I feel like that man has moved on. He did his contractual duty allegedly. I said that a long time ago, too. That is something I do agree with Peter on because me and Em did a live stream. We talked about this a long time ago. I fully agree that like he did his contractual duty. I don't think he needs to be dragged to this BS anymore, but he was Jeffree Star's boyfriend and he wasn't allegedly gay, nor was he bi, nor was he straight. I don't feel like we were necessarily saying pan at the time, but he did his contractual duty. And then he was doing this with reckless abandon, Jeffree Star was. So when you think about it from that perspective, you then see James Charles admitting to hitting on these younger guys with a reckless abandon, the same way Jeffree Star did. Like the same way. Doing the exact same thing. That was so wild. I do remember that. When you're just like minding your business, you're just like, because the thing was, especially if you met somebody in public, you're like, "Oh, you might be a little attractive." Oh my god, what happened? They took the mask off and you're like, "I don't like what's happening with the rest of your face. I'm sorry. I apologize." So, like, if you look at what's happening and how come people are still following James Charles, it's the same way that people were able to continuously not only still follow Jeffree Star, but how he was able to gain new followers. When you consistently reinvent yourself, you move to different platforms, it makes it more difficult for people to be able to follow all of the breadcrumbs because the internet has a long and short memory. It's long in that the information's always there. It's short in that that information gets buried by new information. Yeah, it's just a wild time. Listen, he really was. He like I started calling him Jalopity Staircase, Jefferson Stanky Leg, like just in everything because there was a point in time where there was genuine fear in the community that if you said like anything, it would cause him to appear like Rumpelstiltskin. You know what I mean? And then he'd be like, "Hi," and be like, "Oh," you know what I mean? It would be a jump scare. It'd be like, no. See, J Star has a song called Straight Boys, and it's disgusting. And when you think about it from that perspective, you really look at the way in which people were able to, for a long time, continue following Jeffree Star. Like I was duped, like so many other people. I did not know about all of this stuff that was happening. I did not know about drama channels initially until like little things started happening here and there. So you don't realize like because YouTube is vast, and I will keep saying this: YouTube is so vast. Like I will 100%, I will always use this as an example because Mr. Beast is so rich, has a huge channel. I have never seen anything. I've never been over there. I don't know who Mr. Beast associates with. Like I don't know. The only thing I know about Mr. Beast is that I think one of his dearest friends is trans. And Mr. Beast was like, "Don't piss me off about my friend." And I was like, "Go, Mr. Beast." Like that's what I know about Mr. Beast, okay? And also that I guess he has thumbnails that everybody tries to emulate. But I don't know. There are all these corners of YouTube that many of us never see. Like if everybody in here just started naming channels, I guarantee you that there's channels that some of us will never know exist because we're not on those corners of YouTube. Right? Like there's baking YouTube, there's feet YouTube. Listen, I promise you that there's feet YouTube, okay? It's not blatantly feet YouTube, but it's feet YouTube. And just a little note for all y'all out there who are doing content, be putting your toesies out there for free. Anyways, not Mark Saint from never watching a Mr. Beast video. Like it just not Iago. But the more that you're able to like move, change, and reinvent, it's harder for people to track all the things that you've done. This is one of the reasons why like people have the feeling that they feel about people removing or creators removing apology videos. The reason behind it is that people know that there are terrible people who remove them to cover their tracks from the awfulness. There are plenty of other people who remove them because they're no longer in context because they remove the offending video, and typically that's the difference. That is the difference between why people will remove and won't remove. A lot of times people will remove an apology video because it was a video in response to a video that they created. And since the video harms people, they removed that video. And now the apology is long since out of context. So that's why. But when people do things and they remove them, I get why people get mad. So what happens is you just kind of have this little cycle of somebody being able to hop from platform to platform to platform, reinvent, have new friends. Jeffree can't reinvent not only because he doesn't really like TikTok, but also because there really are other creators who are willing to go over there and deal with all the backlash that they would get from being in Jeffree Star's orbit. Like everybody now knows that you don't go there. And not just because he's persona non grata, but also because it will always come back to haunt you. You know, you look at what happened to everybody who ever dealt with him, they all suffered backlash for being his friend in quotation marks. Like every last person who he was like in his friend circle doing his thing, like they all suffered some kind of backlash for not wanting to hang out with him, whatever it was. And granted, like the things that they did weren't great, like doing a photo flipping off the camera is very juvenile and childish, and I would never of course do such a thing because I'm old and not cool, but I have done it. I'm a child. But but it's just like it's they all had to suffer. They all suffered some way in their career. Like Tati is still getting views. Tati's still doing her thing. I just don't watch her channel. And I would say the views that she has aren't necessarily commiserate with the amount of subscribers that she has. Like she should regularly probably be getting about 400, at least 400K views. And that's not, so a lot of people kind of slid out, right? But James Charles has places to go. He has places where he can escape. He has the ability to just move and transform. Because of that, especially because he has a large TikTok audience that apparently, for the most part, does not seem to care about all the things that he's done, or they don't know, or they don't take it seriously, one or the other. It's easy for influencers to continue to follow him because if he's making it somewhere, if he's good on TikTok and people aren't mad at him, and you don't see in the comments of every TikTok he does or every IG post that he does of somebody being like, what about them boys, huh? Then he's able to just kind of continue existing. He has a whole new audience. He's able to do whatever it is that he wants to do. And that was a loaded statement, but he's able to just kind of move and change. And I don't know if that's going to harm or help, but I do think that when we look at why creators still follow problematic people like that, it's because they're able to reinvent themselves on other platforms. And I think the problem is that if you die out on TikTok, that's not necessarily the end either, because there's plenty of people who have crashed and burned on TikTok for multiple things, some of them being predators, and then they just create a new name, start anew. Because the thing about TikTok is it doesn't have the same ban that YouTube does. So like if YouTube copyright strikes you and kicks you off a platform, or for whatever reason, if YouTube like decides that they don't want you on the platform and they delete your channel and kick everything off, you can't create a new YouTube channel. You don't have that option. However, with TikTok, you can just make a new TikTok account. Just make a new one. Yeah. Yeah. The devil works hard, but JC and JC's manager work harder. Yeah. Like, yeah, don't watch that. Don't watch that. I don't watch that. I am actively avoiding that situation. And so the way I think that you're going to have to and here's the thing, I will say this about Manny, like, I don't know him. I've never liked the way he faux reviews. I call them faux views, because anytime it has to do with money, he will slather shit on and pretend that it looks good, even though we can all clearly see it looks terrible. And he'll just be like, no, it's this, it's that. And we're like, Manny, it looks awful. Stop it. Just be honest. It's so wild. I'm like, bro, come on. Like, just get it together. LGBTQI plus men and masculine presenting people try to overcome the P3PO type stereotype and fear mongering. Yet JS and JC declare their motives and behaviors as a power flex that harm the less not. Yes. Yeah. Because people thought it was such a flex. And I feel like that whole like, ooh, I'm hitting on straight boys. And sometimes they get, well, first of all, they're not straight then. Like, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but if they're like interested when you hit on them, they're not straight. They're not straight. It's like back in the day, I led a wild youth, all right? So if a pretty girl in the bathroom was like, "Can I kiss you?" My answer was almost always 100% yes, girl, you can kiss me. Because girls are the best kissers. Sorry, dudes, but y'all use so much tongue. Anyways, but it was always like, yes. I wasn't straight. It wasn't like you weren't winning an award. Like I'm not I'm not straight. So really it's very much giving like I hit on someone I thought was straight and they reciprocated. Like they're not straight, babes. It's okay though. And so like, now James Charles is really getting hit right now because of his shitty makeup. And it's just on like a high level. Like I'm like, boo, you should have come out with this a long time ago if you wanted people to pretend you weren't a predator, a Pedialyte, a P3PO. If you wanted people to not think that, you should have come out with this like a really long time. If you wanted to try to bury this, you should have done that a long time ago, but you just didn't. So, and the thing is, Morphe isn't around to prop these people up anymore. R.I.P. Morphe. You were like medium while it lasted. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand the point. Yeah. And like I said, I think that he's young. He was young enough and impressionable enough when he was hanging out with these people. Right? And these people had an effect on him. I think that when you're that young and even older, even at my big age, if I'm hanging out with people, I might take on some of the traits of them. I mean, it might obviously me being, neurodivergent and mirroring, but at the same time, I may take on more of the traits of the people around me, have more of the ideology that some of them might have. But there are other things where obviously I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna do that. But I think that we forget sometimes how young he was and that he was hanging out with like demons. Oh, I'm sorry. Listen, I shouldn't have said that. Let me rewind. That he was hanging out with older people who were making bad decisions. Did I just do like a live rewind of myself? I think I just did. Wait, we got to take a little break because I haven't done that. So this is the Ipsy box, which is Find Your Groove. It's the September box. Does this open or that was the scissor cut. Okay. Listen, we're lucky I don't cut myself with these. I do get this in PR once again. How disappointed are we? While I open this, y'all let me know if there's stories or whatnot that we want to start talking about, because I'm going to start trying to actually schedule these lives, because I feel like I'm being a grown-up when normally I'm a child. I'm like, look at me all grown getting things together. I hope you said will not see his brand, because I hope not. Listen, but just like every other influencer, like I spent so much time on this. I spent so much time on her. I'm sorry, that's my impersonation of him. It makes me feel some kind of way. Doll Paint, a brown gel eyeliner. Listen, my favorite eyeliners for my waterline don't come from me, but they're ColourPop gel creams. Cream gel liners. Those are my favorite. There's just nothing else stays in my waterline like that. I'm sorry. Ooh, wait, what? Have you watched any of the Dear Hollywood series from Allison Stoner? I feel like it's very relevant. I have not. I will check that out. I will check that out. Listen, that hurts. Like, we really get in our feelings when anybody says that they bought, like, they didn't buy anything from Morphe, because, wait, to be fair, I think I bought brushes from Morphe and I still have some of them, but I never actually bought a Morphe palette from Morphe. Here's why, because this was back in the days of Wish. Y'all do not know and understand the power that Wish had back then, because this was before we truly understood how some of these brands operated, and we didn't understand like the whole third party system of brands. And so Morphe was really like the point is I got like real legit Morphe palettes from Wish. It was like 3 of their big ass palettes. Oh, this is kind of cute. I know. Okay, it's nothing special. It's a brown eyeliner. I'm gonna keep that and use it. So not disappointed with that. One, I might actually make brown brows one time. Origin. I got some eye cream. It says it's an energizing gel cream with caffeine. So it's from Origins. They're not an MLM, are they? But like y'all don't know. Like Wish back then, you could get anything on Wish at one point before a brand started realizing that they shit was on there. Started getting mad. Oh no, not the Jaclyn Hill Ball collection. Oh, I think a lot of people like, no, no, yeah. I listen. I think I bought from like I was worried that I had purchased Jeffree Star products because I like their liquid lips, and I can't remember if I bought them from there or if I got it in like I think I got it in a BoxyCharm because y'all that was back in the days where these boxes slapped. This is some lip gloss. It looks like a glittery lip gloss and like a shade I don't like. We shall see. It looks pinky. It's from a brand. It's from Shayna B, Miami, and the shade is Basitos. Pasito, pasito, mama. Listen, when I tell you, okay, I've been listening to, yeah. I mean, this is an all right shade. It's like that regular, like pinky kind of, you know what I mean? It's all right. It's all right. Hi, Jen. Welcome in. But I really think that in all reality, we're gonna have to just deal with this. Like, oh, I don't think I like this. This is that hair shit from that brand. It's like super comb and protect. And I always have these, and I got the plastic on. It's like N4. I don't know why that. The writing is so small, I can't read it. I like brushes. The last brushes I got, I think they're the Singe ones from What's Her Face. The Singe Beauty ones. I like them. Let me see if it'll want to. There we go. I like these. They're pretty nice. Like, I think for the set, I would have liked like one or two of them to be a little bit more different, but otherwise it's fine. I have like listen, I'm on the entire train of just throw things away. It's okay. I'm trying to get this last box out so that we can like God, they stuffed it in here good. I'm sorry. So yeah, at the end of all of it, I think Jeffree Star is, obviously where he is. James Charles is going to continue to have supporters, just like obviously Danny Masterson sentenced to all that time in prison, and still has people out there trying to vouch for him. So for every person, there's somebody who's got money and secrets on you to keep you pretending properly. And I will say beauty is a very expensive part of YouTube. I wish I could lie about that, but it is very expensive to create content. As a beauty creator, I'm not going to say that it's not for anybody else, but it's really, really, really expensive to do this because it's not just cameras and lights, and you have to have really good lighting, but you also very much buy MC, but you also have to have a lot of money to buy all this shiz. So here's the glam bag plus. I think this is the plus. Besito, besito, suave, suavecito. Now that song's in my head. Okay. I want to try Spectrum brushes. Holy smokes. Okay. There's a green tea mask. Who cares? Oh. Dane Dawson said Colleen had info on people. Maybe she has shared the dirt with. I would not be surprised. But here's the thing. These people always say that they have info on people, and I feel like it's always lies. But here's the real tea about all of that. Why were you worried? Because if you even go back to like OG Dramageddon and why everybody continued to be friends with him. What were you doing in the presence of Jalopity Staircase that had you worried? I'm just asking a question. Mega Mushroom Relief and Resilience Treatment, Soothing Treatment Lotion for what? Jesus, it's wet. Everything I say sounds disgusting. All right. I don't know what it does. It's wet and juicy. So we're just gonna. I like BH brushes. I like them. Not this goddamn water. I do not like this man eater mascara from Tarte. Like I don't like it. And it just keeps showing up every other month. It's obviously not great. Defiance Beauty. Like that's the one thing where I'm like, please, Ipsy Charm, stop giving us that damn man eater. Is this just like a lip gloss? Yeah, it's another lip gloss in the same shade. This is weird because all of these lips, like every one of these lip things is like damn near. I don't know if that's a lip thing, but they're just all too close in shade. Like it's just like boring Betty September. I like Sigma brushes. Some of them are too big. I have like I like their face brushes quite a bit. It definitely felt like Sloppy J had a cult situation where you put them in Yeah, because like that's always my question is I have refer brushes, I do. I have refer brushes. I like them a lot. I love my refer brushes. Kelly, you said that mascara is my favorite. I'm sorry. Listen, after the move, DM me. I'll just send it to you because I'm never gonna use it. They just keep saying this one's waterproof though. This is Phase Zero, and brand I've never heard of, and they're gonna. I bet this is a bronzy brown eyeshadow palette. Shall we find out if I am correct? It's a quad. God, I can't even get it out of here. Like I end up having to rip everything open like a friggin' monster because I get angry. I mean, that's kind of cool packaging, like kind of like that. It's light, but it looks like it's heavy and fancy. I won. I will not be wearing that either. I'm not going to swatch it or anything. It's not going to. I'm good. Yeah, when people say they have dirt, I'm like, who do you think you are? The CSI, drop the dirt or you got nothing. Yeah, because realistically, here's the thing. This is why, and I'm going to end it here. I'm just going to say this. This is one of the biggest reasons why all of these people will continue perpetuating this cycle. And it's because I feel like everybody has something on somebody. Nobody's honest. And everybody knows that if they actually dropped like whatever dirt, whatever stuff that they have on every single person and like mic dropped and left, that they're going to come back. What else are they going to do? Like, and I don't mean that to be like mean or rude, but like, this is your job. So what, you're going to come out here, you're going to like mic drop and tell on everybody. And then what? Then what? Then you end up having to come back. Like, what are you going to do? There's nothing else that you can do. So in conclusion, my theory is that James Charles is just going to continue following the Jeffree Star playbook. And until he hits that wall, everybody's going to just keep letting him do it. And they're going to keep following. They're going to keep being like, well, he's not in jail or whatever. And that's going to be their answer. Meanwhile, I stopped listening to several artists that Don't do me any good. And finally, please remember going over and being like whatever and leaving a comment for Christy at this point is like moot. She knows, she sees that. You're giving her engagement. I'm watching videos of hers that were not where they are in views, like skyrocket. So that is that. I think yeah, I gotta make a run because me and my mom are gonna go. We have to go look at the house and do some more measurements right quick before the closing. So if you have any ideas or you have any like tea that you want me to spill here, let me know. And you can do that in the comments. You can let me know channels that you'd like me to check out or a video you want me to react to. And I'm going to be trying to schedule these. I thank y'all for being here in the actual live because it's so cool. I appreciate it. If you made it this far and you're on the replay gang, I appreciate you. Drop a clown emoji because why not? Everybody have a good rest of your Sunday. Be safe. Be kind to yourself. And, remember, every day is sort of better than the last one or worse. It's however you look at it. Bye.